DreamHack Open is brought to you by Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, Hacks, and GGBet.
And we are back here at DreamHack Open Austin 2018. The North American teams have showed up, winning both of the early matches. But we've got another game coming up in just a bit with a team that could be potentially considered an honorary North American team in Luminosity. I will be your host for the show, Bach, and with me, as always, Lurpus and Hazed. Now, looking at Luminosity, can we count them as NA at this point? Can we start taking credit for their wins?
I mean, I always have. As soon as SK won the major, I'm like, they're NA.
Yeah,
NA. Where do they practice? Huh? Tell me that, Tommy.
What league do they play in?
Huh? They're NA to me.
Where do they live?
Unbelievable.
Look, we got to take credit, man. We need something.
And at what point does it not be an NA team?
Cloud9. They won the major.
We had
no
Cloud9.
comment.
I don't know if we really want to take credit for them in their current form.
No comment.
No comment?
Well,
no comment. We'll move on from that one.
You take the good with the bad, no?
Unfortunately, we've had enough of the bad over the years. I only want to take the good at this point. I don't want any more bad. I've had enough bad. But looking at the match we've got coming up, we've got Heroic and we've got Luminosity. Is this one, potentially going to be another prediction we get right? Do you guys think that this is a series that we can easily follow?
Did you say get right? We've been nothing but wrong, all right?
I mean, you've been nothing but wrong.
You got lucky once.
I should have just gone with Rogue just to go against everyone, just in case I get lucky again. But looking at the bracket, you can see E United move forward in their first game, beating Fragsters 16-9. Heroic and Luminosity now duking it out to see who goes up into that winner's match. And of course, that team then qualifies for the playoffs. But if they don't win that, they still get knocked down into the lower bracket. It is a standard GSL format double elimination bracket for the groups. Just looking at these two teams on paper, Heroic is kind of in a weird state similar to Optic. Like a lot of player juggling, whereas Luminosity is much more solidified with their roster in its current state.
Well, I think the thing to keep in mind for Heroic, especially here too, is that Rubino's not here. He's one of their more important players, I would say. Just the roles that he plays on that team, anchors many of the sites, plays the sort of support roles that allows the other players to do what they want to do. They got Croman. I'm not sure how much practice they've had with him. I think that's gonna severely impact how good they can be here, even though they had a pretty good showing at their previous event.
And I think Croman, as a fill-in, is actually much better in the fragging department than Rubino is. So I think that if they can change the team dynamic and adjust around that, maybe put him in roles that are going to be different from Rubino. If someone else may have more of a supportive role to replace Rubino, and he goes into a primary fragging role, maybe it can work out because that guy's super talented.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their run at ESL Pro League, I think it was like in every map that they won, Croman had at least 20 kills.
Yeah, he's super good. I got to taste him in an FPL while they were here. That kid's incredible. He was dropping 30s every single game, okay? I don't know.
Now, much like Optic, do we know what we can expect from, or much like, Optic, do we know what we can expect from Heroic map-wise? Can we look at their history? Because things have changed a lot. Like, their EPL run was pretty solid, but like Optic, they're coming in with this really weird last-minute kind of changes. Can we look at their previous map records and really kind of see where they're going to side towards?
I mean, thing is, they are one of these teams where like they don't really have a traditional leader anymore. They obviously lost Snappy in the in the great Optic shuffle of actually the great second Optic shuffle
another one
of 2018.
One of the many.
Yeah, one of the couple. There's been quite a few.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine they're gonna go for the similar maps. I think Luminosity would have been happy to play Train, for example, that we just got removed. I think Inferno is one of them.
Yeah, I think removing Train is fine. You're playing against Yell. He's easily their best player, and he is an AWPer, so I think it's a very comfortable map for them. Ending up on Mirage, that's a dangerous map against Brazilians. They are known for Mirage. Every Brazilian lineup that has ever played.
I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought we were going to see Dust 2 for a second. I'm watching those count down. I'm like, maybe that's like that back pocket map for Heroic. They're like, we don't really have a whole lot of time to prepare for this roster. Let's just practice like Nuke and Dust 2. Yeah. We'll just stick it to all the teams, because the reality is with the introduction of Dust 2, teams now have to choose which one they want to play less. Like, do we want to play Nuke or do we want to play Dust 2?
Yeah, but you can only force one of them in a best of 3, though.
Yeah, that's correct.
You can't do that here yet, so You have to get to the best of 3s. I guess everybody gets to the best of 3s because the loser rounds are best of 3s now anyway. But I hope, like, ideally, you win 2, and then you play the best of 3s in the playoffs. You don't worry about those yet.
I think the teams who come prepared on Dust 2 are the ones that are going to go far in this tournament if they can get to the best of 3 stages, because as you said, Nuke is not a map a lot of teams like to play, and Dust 2 is so new that maybe they don't really have a strat book or just aren't comfortable on it in general, maybe don't even have a default. I know there's a lot of teams online that don't even bother practicing it just yet. They're trying to focus on other maps, so I do think whoever comes in here and worked on Dust 2 has a good shot. I feel like Dust 2 would be a good map for Luminosity. It suits their playstyle. Dust 2 has always been a map where being aggressive is key, especially towards catwalk and middle. So I feel like that it would just be in their wheelhouse. I'm not really sure for Heroic, though. They're a huge question mark for me coming in this.
I think the other problem is Dust 2 is a map where, well, not that that's particularly relevant, but it also applies to Mirage. Like, you need opping, I think, on both maps. It's very important. Like, I don't think Heroic's particularly well set up in that department since losing Yugi. On the other hand, Yell's on Luminosity. I mean, that's a clearly favorable matchup for the Brazilians, wherever they can abuse that in the series.
Yeah, I expect to see Yell going crazy in middle, doing cat jump all the time, jumping underpass. He's definitely that kind of player. He gets super aggressive. He's always going to look for a pick for his team. He's not a passive opper at all, so I expect him to go a little wild. But I'm really, for Heroic, I'm looking at Croman. I want to see him pull out more amazing games. He has led them in all their victories, so I'm looking for it. Nico is actually the player who's been picking up the op quite a bit for Heroic since Yugi's departure, and he's done quite well on it. I mean, he's not Yugi, but he's filling in the role, and he's doing his job, and it's not bad.
I think one of the bigger issues for them is the fact that no one really fills that role. Like, it kind of roams. It's like, okay, well, I'm a competent opera on Mirage, I'll take it here. I'm a better opera on Inferno, I'll take it here. It kind of bounces between the players that are on the team, whereas on Luminosity, you have Yell, and he's just going to be the opera every time. And then you have Showtime, who's also a flex op for the secondary op. So, like, there is much more potential for Luminosity in that department.
I was gonna say something. Now I got stuck on Showtime. Like, Showtime should not be picking up an op. We had this conversation earlier. What you need is you need good first bullet aim to be a good opper, and then you can be a secondary opper and just hold spots. I think that's the kind of thing Nico can do well. I think he's fine for that. Showtime, I just don't think that's what he can do.
Yeah, he's always been a role player. He's not really someone who stood out as a big-time fragger or anything like that, even when he filled in for, I believe it was SK a long time ago. That debacle,
that did not go well.
Did not end well for anyone involved. But he's definitely improved since then. He's upped his game. I just don't see him as being, that prolific with the op. So I think on CT side it is possible, but definitely I don't want to see any double op setups from this team on T side. That would be miserable.
And even on CT side, double up CT side setups are very situational. It's very map and situation specific, like where you think you might be able to get that one pick, because you really do need to use those ops to get picks. If you don't, you're not holding those sites when there's full executes coming in. If the T's can get map control, so we'll see. Steel's obviously the newest guy on the team. We'll see what he can bring from the teams that he's previously been a part of. He's obviously got some experience playing for bigger names, playing with some of the bigger name star players from other lineups. So we'll see what he can sort of implant best practices wise.
Yeah, he's got tons of knowledge. He played with SK. He played with the Mortals. He in-game led.
Liquid.
And Liquid, yeah. So I mean, he's been through a ton of good players and coaches. He's definitely, his calling style, I'm sure, has been refined down to a pretty good place by this point. If it's not, that's not looking good for him. But I think he's a good in-game leader. As his pedigree, especially with the deep runs in Immortals that they had, albeit he wasn't always in-game leading during that team. Sometimes he switched over to Bolts. He's still in-game led for most of it, and he showed that he was a good and capable leader.
And you can see the betting odds right there kind of leaning in favor of Heroic. But not too much so. It's
a little surprising to me that it's that lopsided, only because Heroic also had the travel issues coming in. It was Freiburg, and was it? I'm not sure who the second one was, but Freiburg was stuck in Washington overnight with someone else in DC, and he only arrived like 2 hours ago, I think, is when he popped by to say that he's finally here. So we'll see if that has an impact. I mean, hopefully not, but it's one minor thing to consider, at least in terms of preparation.
It's hard to say if it will be an impact, but most of the time jet lag is rough. Even if you get here a day early, jet lag is still rough. So I can't imagine getting here 2 hours before a match is going to make it any easier.
But at the same point in time, it's not like he's new to this. Like, Freiburg's been around the scene long enough. It's probably not the first time there's been a travel kerfluffle coming into an event.
Listen, experience in esports doesn't work like that. There's still people who have played for 10 years at every tournament in the world, and they still pack their gear in their checked-in luggage and then wonder why they don't have a mouse. People don't learn the same way in esports.
Rookie.
Now we've got our 3 reasons, and it's Hayes this time who's going to march us through what they might be. Go ahead and take it.
So the first reason I think is pretty clear. We just touched on it. It's Heroic being jet lagged. It is something that can especially affect the in-game leader role. You come in, if you're jet lagged, I don't know who the second person was that was jet lagged. If it ends up being the in-game leader, well, Freiburg was actually. He's in-game leading. So if he handles it well, then it won't be an issue. But if he is jet lagged, it's going to cause a big problem. The second reason will be Steel's leadership. So Steel, as we just talked about, very good in-game leader, has tons of experience, was in a team under Fallen, under Zeus as a coach, and it's hard for me to imagine that his leadership isn't going to be a big playing role in this game. And my third reason is Brazilian work ethic. They practice harder than anyone else I've ever seen. They know how to practice correctly, which is something you would think every pro would know how to do, but they don't. Practicing correctly and taking practice serious is something they do very well, and it goes a long ways in showing their improvements through all the Brazilian teams.
So I guess it goes without saying at this point that you think this is going to be a Luminosity win.
Personally, I think Luminosity is going to take this. I think it'll be close, though.
How about you?
I also had Luminosity winning. That's why I thought it was so surprising that the betting odds were quite convincingly on Heroic side. I think it was like 1.6.
Yeah. I can understand maybe some fans seeing Heroic winning because they got, Freiburg, a lot of fans of Freiburg. But Kroman's amazing form at EPL, so maybe they can come through, get some lucky rounds. But I just think Luminosity is tactically the better team. And
I mean, Mirage is a map everybody knows how to play, so you can kind of just swap in players and at least run simple things.
That's true.
To get kills off of.
I'm going to pick Heroic simply because at this point,
you're a contrarian, we get it.
If I get it wrong, at least then we'll all be tied.
All you want to do is piss me off, huh?
I just want to win. All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
That's what J.R. Smith said, huh?
Yeah, it didn't work out for him.
But by the way you would win is you just pick everybody the same as we do for the rest of the tournament, and you couldn't lose.
I guess that's
possibly if we just continue agreeing.
That's technically true because
it's not just technically true.
No,
it's
no,
true.
You're right. But we've got the casters standing by. It's going to be Launders and Dust. I guess we could call you guys Dunders?
Let's not.
You just need to stop. Like,
Dunder
every
Mifflin?
attempt has been a miss.
I like that one. I like Dunders.
It's not necessary.
Dunders. Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah. It's
okay, fair enough.
Sounds like some Australian.
I got a fourth reason why the Dunders win. Because we got Fogo de Chao right around the corner, so the Brazilians are feeling right at home.
Get the meat sweat.
That's what's going to do it. It's going to be all about unlimited meats.
I don't think that's going to be the reason they win.
It's the other 3 reasons.
It's the other 3 that you
feel like
right?
this conversation has gone very far off the rails.
Oh, yeah.
So do you guys think this is going to be Luminosity?
Yeah.
I'm not as convinced, actually. I think that it's going to be a really close game. I actually think Heroic could eke it out.
All right, well, I think the players are ready, so why don't you take it away? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. I'm here with my man Launders. He's checking in. He's checking in with me. 2 color casters. I'm going to put the play-by-play hat on this time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. Like we were casted last Austin together the whole time, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a reunion of sorts for us, too, as we get ready, as the Danish flag is being raised out there. I guess there is a Dane still on this team, which would be him, Nico, that you see on your screen.
Nice.
So there you go. I think that's the only Dane left on the team. Esatag, I'm sorry. Esatag's also Danish. My bad. So,
Can't forget about him.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the reason why I was saying I'm kind of worried about Luminosity is outside of making ECS finals and qualifying for Valencia, because they were invited to this event, they have not qualified for anything else, and they were really poor in EPL. And also, historically, the core of this Luminosity lineup has gone out in groups in every single LAN they've played. So that is like some of the major concerns I have for the team.
That's fair enough. You know, it has been kind of an ongoing underdog story for them, and it's about time, I think, that they finally solidified and maybe got to the point where they don't go out in groups, make playoffs, you know, have some real results. But at the same time, it's unfortunate because they recently just had a roster change that probably should have gone a bit better for them. Steel is a world-class player, major finalist, right? Tons of IGLing experience, and should have, I feel like, fit more like a glove into the roster.
I will say the reason why I don't think that that's happened is simply because, like, yes, he's an experienced in-game leader, but you'll notice when we watch this game through, if they keep things the same as when I was watching their Mirage demos, Steel actually no longer lurks, which he's done on almost every team he's ever played on, or at least like played on the edge of the map, right? On this team, it's kind of like PKL and Showtime who do that a lot of times, so Steel actually winds up becoming like an entry fragger next to like a Yell and a Nekus who's still on the team. And so I feel like he's kind of out of his element playing a more, I guess, forward position on T sides.
Why do you think he might be doing that?
I think it's more of just trying to slot in, right? Because he's filling in basically for Cello, who moved on to go play with... we think they're going to be SK, but I think they go by NTC right now. So I feel like maybe that's why he just kind of plugged into a spot to keep everyone else familiar where they were normally playing at.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the only good result they had was the 2-0 versus Cloud9 at EPL. But apart from that, oh, sorry, that was Heroic.
Yeah. It's okay.
Confused the analysis here.
I will say this about Heroic as well. Like, their Mirage was the most impressive map at that finals. Like, their 2 Mirage losses were an OT loss to one team, and then they lost 14-16 to Mouse Sports. So, Na'Vi was the overtime loss on Mirage, actually. So, this was like the map they played the most, or the most drilled on, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the one map they have going for them. Luminosity, on the other hand, are very good at Mirage, always have been, and certainly should feel right at home.
And just a pistol round coming in here. Chroma looking to aggressive with this USP. No one's really giving him a look just yet. Nico is kind of there for backup and connector with his own USP. And now Chroma has spot in the top of the dome of one player, and he's fishing for the kill. But so far, everyone is just kind of whiffing out. But Chroma finally does land it in the face of Nekus. Able to get himself the opening pick, and the rest of the team is going to be pouring into the A-bomb. It's like Showtime actually on the edge of the smoke, able to take down Nico. The bomb is going to get planted here at the default spot.
Pretty simple to execute. No CT smoke. They're planning opposite triple as well. Steel just spotting to see if anybody crosses into CT, and Madi's going to be played backed up because they're ready for the retake.
Yeah, they try to face together. Showtime able to equalize the frags, and even steps up and finds Madi as well. So now a player down is going to be Heroic. Actually now all on Freiburg in the 1v2. He's already got 1 kill. Can he finish it off? He's coming in. He's got no kit, so he needs to work quickly here. Trying to dance around the triple. Does get the headshot onto Yell, but PKL uses that distraction to his advantage to come out and get the trade, and so the pistol does go the way of the Brazilians.
I really love how Freiburg played that 1v2. You could see that he had the right idea, knowing that both players were trapped, one behind the sight box and one in the corner of the wall, realizing that he can't hide for too long. He wants to make sure they feel uncomfortable, and then going top of the box to change it up. And you wonder if he had that extra couple of bullets left over, if it could have been an amazing round. But Luminosity win, which is the most important thing, the most salient point. And it is full out mid-control for the CTs.
Yeah, we do see Nico stepping up, finding the first blow, but Steel is quick to respond with the UMP, and the rest of Luminosity gather up inside the B apartments. They do have a couple of smokes to block off Catwalk if they so choose, which has kind of become a staple, I feel like, of B executes on this map. A lot of teams have been going towards that, like smoking off, well, I guess what's called like get right or the corner position and isolating the site. But as I say that, they kind of withdraw and reset.
Yeah, now walking back, regrouping at mid after the dust is settled. And they still have quite a bit of utility. They have the couple of smokes they could use to get up Cat. One for connector, one to make sure that no one can peek them from window, but I think they plan on making a contact play. Croman might get caught off guard.
We'll have to see such a ladder with that UMP, unable to find anything as Yell leads the way for Luminosity on this B split. Showtime is getting halted inside the apartments, but he finally does find his mark on Freiburg. But Madi, the snake in the grass, has been ever so patient on the balcony, steps into Showtime for the kill, is able to maybe come over here and grab that AK-47, which indeed does take place, and he delivers a second frag onto PKL, but unfortunately, his teammates have fallen, so it's all on him, and Yell hiding over here at the white van, looking to see if he can catch Madi off guard as he jumps out, but Madi staying alive, angles him out, gets the kill, but Steel lurks around. Madi, brilliant effort, but not quite enough.
Damn, he might have got third person. He might have got 4-3'd in that situation.
Playing too much Fortnite.
He might have got 4-3'd on that turn. Madi's looking very sharp as well. I mean, you can kind of see by the way players are moving in their clutch situations how smart they're looking, and you can see he had a good read on that. But there were some good rotations. The way that Yell repositioned a Van, I think, caught him off guard. And yeah, some good individual CS from both sides right now. But another eco round. Heroic have not invested anything into this. And Showtime's going to be ready for this underpass push. Wow, with a quick spray down.
That is possibly the easiest quad kill of his life. And he probably won't have a chance to add a 5th to that, as Madi has actually already entered into Van area, nowhere near Showtime right now, who's still kind of watching for more of an underpass push. There's one player running their way in here to Madi with the P250. It's Nekus with the MAC-10, which is exactly who you want to be getting the kill to get that extra cash bonus that the MAC-10 offers. And so now we're going to get into our opening gun round, where Heroic will finally have a buy on their hands, but no op in place.
It's a stylistic choice. You know, you can always find a place for the op as a CT, but it does come down to how comfortable you are with the op. Do you have a plan for it? If you don't, then maybe, yeah, save the money, because it's a very expensive investment, not a lot of kill reward, so if you're not just stringing rounds together, it's almost pointless. And that's a pretty fortunate spray from Esatag, but he did hold down mouse 1 for like 3-4 seconds there.
PKL trying to sneak through the smoke and connector, but he's been stuffed. And now it's all on Yell, 1v4 with the AWP. And he's not able to catch the player jumping over at Ticket Booth. He's still got a lot of time with the bombs down in connector, and he's got an AWP to work with. Not necessarily the best gun for this situation, unless he can angle out a couple of players who look to get a little bit too antsy. So you see him sliding out here, looking towards the catwalk. Again, time on his side, but numbers not. Let's find the first kill on the Esatag, though. So at least trying to do some economic damage, maybe for some rebuying out of Heroic. Now, Luminosity kept 2 MAC-10, so their money's actually still not too shabby going into the next round. But obviously, hold on to this op would be pretty massive.
Yeah, Luminosity, I think, are thinking about the numbers, and Yell does not want to die, but at the same time, with so much time left over, it's not going to get a free save either.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of see what he can get before the round's done.
Yeah, he might push this player out and get another kill, which would be quite nice. It's not quite extending enough for whatever reason to catch Madi. What in the world? How does it not happen? And now Madi's going to get the kill because of it. That is so unfortunate for Yell. Maybe just a little bit off with the Molotov.
You know what, Dust? Maybe that clutch begins if he gets that kill, right?
I feel like it, yeah. But now it's like, he should have been guaranteed to save the op almost, because he feels like that spot should definitely be clear, and it's not. So it costs him the AWP in the end. Luckily, enough money to still buy one. This means he doesn't have as much utility coming to the next round. And Luminosity typically tends to be a very slow-paced team. One of the teams that still really hold on to that slow-paced style of play, just like 1-3-1, mid-control default type stuff. Again, Steel, we talked about, a little bit more active on this team, as he's out here in middle, but another spray-down kill from the Heroic side that kicked things off.
That is absolutely how you want to start your rounds, and there it is, the 5v3 once again as well. So a very good start to these first couple of rifle buys for Heroic. Hang on to all their utility. Minute 24 and 2 kills. Very few situations to start a round better than this one. Now Croman, who's kind of been one of the better players, if not the best player as of late.
The Norwegian stand-in has definitely been a force to be reckoned with on this Heroic team at the EPL Finals. Definitely, like you said, one of their top fraggers, and he steps up to the plate and delivers against Yell in this round. Just been Heroic crushing Luminosity left, right, and center across the map, and they may wind up taking this one with perfection. Showtime does, in fact, burn out Croman in the end, so it won't be all 5 surviving, but still a clean round here from Heroic. Just the aggression across the map, doing them wonders.
Yeah, Luminosity falling totally flat at mid once again. I think there's only so much you can say about getting sprayed down through cat smoke from window. Ultimately, you could delay that a little bit more. You could come out earlier than someone would expect. But either way, you know, you're trying to pick the best timing possible. If you get killed, it's it's good on Heroic for spamming. It's unfortunate that you picked that wrong time. But it's something you have to write off at the end of the day, right? You can't expect that to happen over and over again. Now, as for the second kill, you wonder, are they pushing too quickly into getting aggressive to try to even up? Should they slow that down?
Well, I think the second kill is actually Esatag pushing Palace with an op.
Right.
So that was like one of those things where they couldn't, I guess they just couldn't really expect that after getting killed at middle like that.
No, that's a good point.
So this round, obviously, there's really nothing to work with. They have the Deagle on Steel, P250 on Nekus, no utility, though. I don't know what they're really fishing for in this round, other than maybe just information or hoping this Deagle can get a pick. Shots being taken to Nico. Now knows what's going on. Madi will creep into connector with the M4. Finds the dome of Nekus. Nice little dink onto Nico, though, from the underpass. But Madi comes in to save the day once more. And now just 2 stand for Luminosity, and they're quickly falling thanks to Madi, who continues to deliver with that M4. It's like Froman will be the one to maybe put the punctuation mark at the end of the sentence that is this round. But as I say that, never mind, he does get it, okay. Thought there was a push coming in from his teammate that was going to collect the frag in the end, but now we're all tied up.
Runs out of ammo, but he closes it up, and you know the first 3 rounds is a good place to start, but having lost 2 rifle rounds in a row is not going to be a good sign for Luminosity. They're not going to feel that great about it. The fact that they are buying down to 0 on this round and, again, are only going to be using AKs means they've got to make sure they get more value here, because even doing a bit more economic damage could mean the world to them.
And they're just going to kind of hold true to that same default. They are going to have an extra player towards the A side of the map this time, so it's a little bit different than their normal 1-3-1, but still the same goal is kind of in mind of just working mid-control into perhaps some type of connector split on the A bomb side. But there's 4 players in the area, 2 under the balcony.
There's not going to be too much resistance from the CTs here. And Freiburg's going to be peering over top of the smoke, but players have already crossed with the bomb, and it seems like they're gearing up for another connector split. You might expect our number 7 man, Showtime, to work his way into underpass as they attempt to do this, but again, not much presence for the CTs, which I think is worrying for Luminosity, who know that they've lost mid fights already. So they would expect Heroic to be aggressive and expect to be able to get away with it.
They also have nothing to flush those players out from under the balcony. They don't have any Molotovs or anything really, so the players can just kind of safely hold position and double out and just kind of deal with any execute. And there's still players jungle and CT to deal with kind of the connector portion of this attack. So we do see 3 tucked into the connector, 1 ramp, 1 palace. So they're going to split it 3 ways, but Freiburg first to be called to action, able to get 1. Equal exchanges so far inside of the bomb site, but Crowan and Madi look to tilt the balance in their favor, and Crowan will go ahead and put on the finishing touches. So in a quick fashion, Heroic take another round pretty convincingly.
Yeah, it's almost that trap that they feel like they're following. They're just following this path that Heroic has created for them to the A site. It's like, oh, wow, this is wide open. Come on and take it. And you could see the Luminosity were a bit hesitant about wanting to do that. But at the same time, we're given all this free map control and eventually ran into a stack. And Heroic did that off of very little information. They made that 4th rotate over to A. They had 200 balk. We're totally ready for any kind of walkout. Looks
like this is going to be a B fake. They have smokes lined up inside B apartments with 2 of their players, but they have 3, including the bomb carrier here, over towards the A bomb site. So I think they're just going to try to throw this utility into B, then come through underpass and split A again. Seems to be what's in the cards. But we'll have to see. Feels like Nekus wants to go out as well and actually take a peek because he has it flash himself and steal 2 flashes to flash him in. So seems to be what they're thinking about.
Madi's aggressive A ramp. I just have to be a slave to information.
That might sell the fake even more, actually, because he got the pick at A, but then the utility's coming B, so maybe he thinks, oh, he was staging up for some type of A fake instead. But because they're getting all the kills so clean, no one really has to move, so it's not as if they're really able to sell anything to the Heroic side, as this round has gone by the wayside, I guess as anticipated, as Heroic will move up 5-3.
I would say you can sell the most elaborate fake that you want, but if you're a good team on the other side, you shouldn't move until you see the bomb. At least not with your last player, who's normally in CT, which is a very safe and easy way to hold the site. So it's kind of hard to guarantee that rotate unless the players that are faking the site can actually get kills.
Yeah.
Then you have to move. But other than that, it's a hard sell.
As you can see, Steele there barking orders. The new in-game leader for the team. I think it was mostly PKL throughout a lot of the history of this team. But of course, Steele, after departing Team Liquid, comes back to another full Brazilian side. And of course, as we were talking about earlier, certainly has experience having led Immortals in the day. It kind of bounced around between him and Bolt several times throughout that team's history. So certainly no stranger to the cause.
New haircut. I like it.
So here we go. Finally, Luminosity back to making full purchases. Yell, one of the few times he's had an AWP on this T side. But look at the aggression here from Heroic. Madi, the one leading the charge with the AK, finds 2 kills. Now, Showtime did open up the A bomb site in the meantime, and the bomb will get planted, but he has to hold off the CT spawn, you have to imagine. He keeps going forward, actually. And catches Freiberg coming through the market. Nico does eventually stamp him out, but Yell is there to deliver right away. So a very fast-paced round that seems to be going the way of Luminosity, unless Madi can make it happen, and he does get himself into a 1v1. He's already had 3 kills on the round. He could find the 4th, and he does stamp out PKL. He will have time to defuse, no problem, and is able to pick up the op to bring over to his team in the next round. What a brilliant individual effort from Madi.
Yeah, very nice round. I mean, what more can you say? He gets the 4 kills and comes back through CT as well. One of the most expected rotates for Luminosity to have to deal with. But that's sad because Showtime was able to get turn an entry into what was almost an ace, pushing all the way through CT and finding those first 2 important frags. So I think what could have happened differently, at least for PKL, was a quick reposition where I think he would have had a lot more freedom of movement if he was behind default as opposed to Firebox. But again, that's the only round that looks bad because he lost.
Esatag looking to follow in the footsteps of Madi from the previous round with the AWP instead, but Nekis is the victor of this middle exchange. And as the AWP down for Heroic with really no hopes of ever recovering it back. And it looks like Luminosity does not want to hesitate. They want to look to push the issue here at B right away as they step out on the balcony. Freiberg, though, from underneath the window, able to deliver 2 kills. And at least keeps his team in the hunt, keeps it even as Perlman rotating around from the catwalk, spots a player behind bench, but he can't find his man at Steel instead. This bomb looks to try to work its way back into the site, but Madi is going to cut it off. And Nico comes in as well, so it's just PKL at this point in a 1 versus 1. So again, we have a clutch situation on our hands, and PKL might be mind-gaming Nico just a little bit.
Nico actually hasn't waited for information or waited to hear a plan. Instead, is deciding to go into B right away. So this might work somewhat against PKL, but at the same time, he will have an open site to plan on, and it's far enough away that he'll be able to get to any position he wants to, which is the important part. Will the cross occur, though? Nico's about to turn his attention to A site.
Just misses it, it looks like.
Just misses it, yeah.
This planted default. It looks like PKL is going to try to play the post pant here from the Tetris. Or no, he goes in the sandwich, actually, so he's right below the stairs. So Nico will come in. He does have an incendiary to maybe try to flush out one position. Oh, does spot him, but can't get his gun out fast enough. So PKL with the clutch this time in response to Madi's of the previous, and it keeps the score close now, 6-4. Plenty of money, though, for Heroic to buy back in.
Chance here to bring it back, but Heroic still have quite a bit of money, at least for this one buy-up. Luminosity on the round previous, if anybody has a short memory, decided to go for a rush at A. That almost worked out quite well. Their slow connector splits have not been working out well at all. And I would expect them to keep a higher tempo because of that, and because they realize this one might be one of their last chances in the half.
As Luminosity spilling out with heavy numbers from Palace, looking for some way into the A-bomb site, but Madi's the one guarding the ticket booth, and he's not selling today. He's delivering some nice kills there, as he's been doing the entire half, really. And Luminosity's now down just to 2 men very early. The bomb is inside the A site, sure, but its ability to plant is limited. But Yell does get a kill, which allows him to safely put it down towards connector side. He's still got to worry about CT spawn, and Freiberg from jungle does finish him off before he can get away. Now, the bomb is planted for Nekis, but with so many players alive and a smoke in his face, it's going to take a miracle spray through to stop this from happening. He does get the damage in. He's stalling out the defuse for now. He's done so much damage with the grenade. Does come in from Madi. And it is going to be a 7th round going the way of Heroic.
You can see he had a good idea of how to work that with a smoke down. I wonder if he decided to try to practice lining that up versus connector smokes or something like that, which is always nice to see players doing, but unfortunately was off by a small margin and couldn't come close to winning at the end of the day. Rounds where Luminosity get out into A site, but because the guy who was supposed to cover the plan, as you mentioned, goes down, the guy who's sitting on default is at such a high risk of dying, and it's not a surprise to see the CT guy come out ahead in both those engagements because of it.
Yeah, now Luminosity just onto a full save this round, just again trying to quickly work their way into the A-bomb. So I just hope if they can just get a bomb plant, that would be something, and Showtime is doing its best effort to ensure that that's going to happen as he pushes into CT and gets a couple of kills, but too many of his teammates fall around him, so the plant never does happen, but maybe a little bit of damage done at least.
I think we do see we do see what Luminosity is trying to go for, right? They see opportunities at the A site. They see that they're getting all this map control. Technically, when you have connector, that's the most difficult part of the round for you. You know, imposing a split with 3 choke points is a T-sided affair most of the time, as long as you're not running into a stack. So maybe they just need to spend a little bit more of the round trying to instigate some attention at B, making sure to try to get a kill in the default. Opening the man advantage has been a big thing for Heroic, and then moving into their comfortability zone, which is the connector split.
I feel like I've never seen Luminosity just get like a straight up 5-on-4 this game. Like I feel the aggression at middle from Heroic, or even sometimes pushing underpass, has always kind of netted them some type of advantage that they always eventually roll out into a victory with very few exceptions.
Now we look at the stats that the round conversion rate for teams that get the opening kills, 70 to 80% with these like tier 1 and 2 teams. So it's no surprise that Heroic are converting here.
Yeah, it's just been like S-Tag, different people at middle, but this time it's finally Luminosity who takes the better of the middle exchange. It's Steel the one leading the way. Again, a new position for Steel. First time in his career he's really played out middle on Mirage, and he gets 2 big kills, which might finally be the driving force that Luminosity needs to put a round on the board. So they're looking to bunch up over here towards the A bomb site.
Key difference is that they've really taken their time, and S-Tag being alive is a big issue. Freiberg from the top of the stairs tries to go for his spray down and can't come back and pull his team back from the man disadvantage that they put themselves in. S-Tag's also, already actually thinking about saving as the bomb gets planted, and he's got that one-shot gun. Makes his way back into B, is kind of performing an aggressive rotate to Cat. I don't think he wants too much attention, but again, he might be worried about getting hunted.
Yeah, exactly. And also, since we're talking about opening duels, Madi is 3-0 in opening duels, Nico 2-0, and then Freiberg and Kroman 1-0. So the only person who struggled in opening frags is S-Tag. And then meanwhile, over on the Luminosity side, Nekis, one of the main entries for Luminosity, is 1-7 in opening duels.
And then the round that Showtime was able to get his
2 kills at middle was his 2 opening duel victories of the game, and that's this round we see right now.
All right. Well, the round that he entered through a site. And that's a daunting stat line, right? That's just a big part of this game, unfortunately, for Luminosity. But we see them pull together around, because here they took their time. They got the opening kill, Yell getting that duel, and went back to their comfort zone, which is that A hit. So, I think they're starting to figure it out. I don't think it's too late. We're moving into round 14, but there's still potential for an 8-7 half.
Yeah, I feel like Yell needs to get going with this AWP. Is going to be kind of a big factor, but never mind. It's just going to be a full-out B rush. But Kroman and Freiberg so far not doing too shabby, holding this off. Kroman doing the bulk of the heavy lifting right now. He's already gotten 2. One with the rifle, one with the fire. He's able to extinguish and hold his positioning for a little bit longer. Steel winds up making the inevitable come to fruition. As Kroman bought enough time, though, for his players to slide into place and still try to make this retake happen. They do have a little bit of utility. They do have a kit on S-Tag and Madi, but Yell is really wise to this apartment's flank and even puts a smoke down. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for that flank to really have impact, and these flashes are really holding up these players in market. So valuable time is being burnt, but Heroic still closing in, and they get 2 kills. It's all on Yell now from the apartments. Smoke on the bomb. Nico with the no-kit defuse. And he gets knocked down by Yell through the smoke. Now S-Tag with the kit does get on the fuse. Yell misses his shot. Yell's in there looking for a knife fight right now, shanking his way through. Does he get the kill in time? Yes, he does. What a clutch from Yell.
You would have never expected him to hit that off shot.
No, definitely not.
He diffused on the greatest off angle you could ask for, and Yell still hit the wall bang somehow. There was basically no chance that Yell was going to win that. Once that smoke hit his Molotov, I'm sure he thought the same thing. Oh, actually a 1v3.
Hit through the wall as well. It
Unreal.
Yeah, like the corner of the wall.
Yeah.
So now he's just swinging away like, please let me get this kill. And he does indeed find it. So finally something going the way of the Brazilian side. And Showtime with the opening pick on this round as well on a Heroic team that, with it being the last round of the half, you buy all that you can, but it's still not that much to look at. At least Kroman finding a kill here to try to settle things up just a little bit. Nico is actually pushed through A as well, so information being gathered, but the kill still going the way of Luminosity all across the board. It's left Freiberg alone, very lonely indeed, with the CZ in armor.
And it looks like it's about to be wrapped up here. And after all the dust is settled, not a bad round for both teams, or not a bad half, I should say, for both teams. I'm sure Heroic are going to be a little bit upset about the fact that things are going so well in the beginning, but you could always see that Luminosity had a chance in these rounds. And I think fixing some of their mistakes live is a really good sign, too, adapting to the fact that they were losing that opening kill over and over again.
Does Heroic really have, I mean, their chance here? Freiberg's trying. He's in a 1v4. He's gotten 2 kills, and he's at the right place. Catwalk, he can kind of keep vision on both sides to a degree. He can watch these players jump out, and he lines up both of them. Can he spray down the final kill? No, so close to clutching that, in fact, was Freiberg. That was way too close for comfort. We kind of were talking through the end of the round thinking that it was already a finished deal, but
that was done.
Freiberg almost added a clause to that contract.
Unreal. He probably should have won, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking dangerously close, that is for certain. Yes, Heroic 8-7. Good recovery, though, from Luminosity at the end. They won 4 of the last 6 rounds.
That's pretty good. And with the 8-7 half, they move into the second half, not worrying too much about your pistol. They will have a solid CT side. One of the reasons that the Brazilians are so good is because they've been very innovative on CT side in terms of how they get aggressive, and you know they're going to have a lot of options. Yell is such a fantastic offer to have on CT side because he takes risks that you need to take, and he almost always delivers.
Yeah, Yell's been kind of the name that's been touted out of the Brazilian scene for quite some time as like a player to keep an eye on. I feel like it's kind of crazy that none of the Luminosity players have ever really been touched in any of these Brazilian shakedowns. It's always been like moves between, Immortals and SK or what have you. And like Luminosity's always been kind of left out of that rotation. They've really always held on to kind of their biggest names. The only exception is like Cello, who just moved on to NTC. But other than that, they've been able to retain Yell for quite a while.
They've gotten the hand-me-downs.
Yeah. We do see a lot of battling going down in middle early, and all of it is going the way of Heroic. Unfortunately for the Brazilian, Steel trying to fight back off the catwalk. He's all alone, though, with his USP, and he is going to get wrecked. And so it is going to be 9-7 Heroic with a very quick and dominant pistol victory. And I'm kind of worried about Heroic because we're talking about like in-game leading situation. From what I understand from an interview I read, it's Esatag actually calling for the team now.
Okay.
I thought originally it was supposed to be Freiberg when he came onto the team.
That's
that was kind of what it was talked about, but it's been Esatag lately. And I think it's kind of like by committee, I would have to imagine. Like, I don't think they have like a firm, dedicated leader on this team right now. That's why Snappy was such a big loss for them.
Yeah, who knows? You never know. I mean, some players just have a knack for it, right? I mean, some players might need to take more time. Some players might find out that they're not going to be good IGLs, but you never really know unless you're inside the TeamSpeak or Mumble, Xfire, what have you.
Xfire, man, that's a real throwback right there.
Going all the way back.
All the way back to not quite AIM, but still pretty far back as we do get Heroic here. Actually might be falling prey to the force buy of Luminosity. They've lost a couple of players already, and they're still trying just to get this bomb down in A. They're pushing in the CT spawn to try to get that space they need to safely plant for CT, and Madi buys him enough time to do that, but he still goes down in the end, and it's still a 4-on-2 retake opportunity here for Luminosity. Croman still trying to guard the ticket booth here with the Galil. Does find one. Seal trades back now. Esatag all alone, and he's going to get traded by the pinch of Luminosity, and so we're going to have a scrappy beginning to this second half.
What a flip-flop already. Just like that. Pistol round goes the way of Heroic, Luminosity steal it right back, and it's going to be a depressing next round for Heroic. Well, they've got... I'm thinking, oh, they've actually dropped an AK. Goes to the hands of Madi, a couple of armor buy-ups, and yeah, 3-4 sets of nades.
It's basically a slugfest until someone loses 2 in a row, and then you're forced to tap out, basically. So it's just a lot of trying to garner for position, trying to see if you can be the one to win the economic game of chicken that is taking place right now. And Heroic looks to be knocking on the door of that B-bomb site. 4 players gathered up in the apartments, 1 lurking through middle into the catwalk here. There's a couple players in connector, though, that should be able to catch on to him. But Madi, oh, man, almost ruined that one, but does wind up figuring it out in the end. So kills are going the way of Heroic for the most part right now. Steel, though, doing well to at least keep his team in the hunt. Yell and PKL in the 2-on-3. There's still that mid-lurk actually going on right now for the T side as the bomb does go down. Lots of utility damage to Croman as he does eventually escape his way over to the van. They do have a kit onto PKL. They have a smoke to put on the bomb as well to defuse inside us. They do have a couple of win conditions, but one of them is not the man advantage, unfortunately, as Yell does even it up, though, at the very least. So does Freiberg, and Nico left standing, waiting for the bomb to tick its way into an explosion. Nico up top with the Deagle, no armor, listening to the CTs dancing around below him, and now he will spin through the smoke, takes down Yell. This round is in the bag now, no matter what way the kills go, thanks to the efforts of Nico in the end, and he looks like he will die to the bomb, but at the very least he secured the round.
Everybody dies. I mean, it's a pretty good result for Heroic though, who just wanted to steal it back. That was their main concern.
Did that guy just try to bring the dab back in 2018? I just saw that.
I didn't see that.
What are you doing?
My mind just instantly wipes every time a dab occurs.
When you said everybody dies, I thought you were about to like do some J. Cole spitting or something like that over there, but then I remembered you aren't a J. Cole fan. So.
J. Cole's buns.
Last album, not his best work, I will say that, but still a brilliant artist in my opinion. As we do see Luminosity here, taking a little bit of exchange inside the underpass. Equal footing right now, as Luminosity is still forcing into this one. It's like tennis, where like you get advantage, but you still have to drive home that next one before it's over.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. It's this economic game of chicken, a.k.a. tennis. S tag, puts a headshot up. 4-3, Heroic are going to feel a little bit more comfortable, confident. Can take their time here. Every time you get a kill, the way I look at it is that you can add an extra 20 seconds of walking to the clock where you don't have to take unnecessary risks. My goodness, Nico.
Yeah, nice little headshot there, and he also catches Yell inside the connector, so it's all on PKL, and it looks like the hopes of Luminosity staying in the race for economic control early in the half has been lost already. Hiroko up 11-8, and Luminosity almost certainly need to take a big save this next round, and that's where Heroic can start looking to widen the gap on the scoreboard.
Oh, there you go. I think I'm going to change my name to Nico and see what happens.
Might as well.
Let's play a few pugs.
Had, I don't know. Like, the old Danish Nico is good in the beginning, but then kind of tapered off. But you got the new Danish Nico. You got, obviously, our Nico on FaZe.
Nico.
At one point, Nico did change his name to, like, Nikolai to try to separate himself from FaZe Nico, but then he just went back, so...
Because he feels like he did it first, and you know, that's the unfortunate thing is you do it first or you have the bigger brand, and those two parties are always going at it, right? Like who gets to claim the title?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did it first or not. I feel like he's younger than FaZe Nico.
That's true.
Not sure. But I mean, his name is Nikolai, so I can't really hate on him for using the shorthand for his real name.
Definitely his name.
Yeah, so...
It's just a tough spot to be in.
He probably didn't want to go in ICO because that was the other Danish Nico. The old Opper from the old days.
That was a long time ago.
Indeed it was. That was like the very beginnings of CSGO.
Dark time. Dark time.
back when you couldn't play matches because people would DDoS your Ventrilo.
Back when you couldn't shoot people on ladders. Come a long way.
So we do see some mid-aggression here from Luminosity, which winds up benefiting them quite nicely, actually. And Yell catches Chroman coming out of Palace as well, so the chips begin to stack in the favor of Luminosity in this round, as Madi and Nico will try to see if they can't combine their efforts, like the Wonder Twins, into something valuable. Trying to see if they can't clear out connector. Their player is actually blind in there, but they don't push in for it. They're actually trying to boost inside the window instead, and Yell is waiting for this. He is going to be able to find it pretty quickly and able to trade out Nico as well. So Luminosity, once they're able to buy back in, get a nice round.
It's not uncommon to go for mid control. It is a little bit less common for the CTs to try to go for mid control. So as a terrorist, when you see that and you're coming out mid, it can be a little bit unexpected. It's hard to say who wins that fight most of the time, whether it's the CT that pushes up to the wall with a good flash, or if it's the T that's crossing who has like a slight high ground advantage and also has the peeking advantage. But all in all, if you're Heroic, you're more concerned with the fact that Luminosity did something you didn't expect. So now that they've won that round, they're going to feel really good about it, and it's going to be on Heroic to try to reinvent themselves a little bit, make sure that Luminosity can't do anything that aggressive without either getting punished or feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah. Heroic playing default here, but like most passive A default I've ever seen. Like their players just kind of more watching for an A push almost towards back middle rather than actually trying to get control of Palace or something like that. Now he will slowly start to drift in that direction, but still keeping it very default. Madi's the one kind of looking for something over on the B side of the map, so trying to be kind of an aggressor in one area. Maybe try to pull that mid-rotator towards the B side of the map to some degree, or just find a pick either way. So he does set himself up a smoke as well.
Still a good bit of utility for both sides. So we've just gone below the minute mark. And it's late mid-control for Heroic, so I think they just kind of wanted to starve out the defense and really call them out if they wanted to keep anybody up there. If they wanted to get too aggressive, they would die. But now that it's 5v5, I would feel all right if I was Luminosity, apart from the lack of information. There's nobody in window, and there's nobody in the back of window. So these are kind of gaps in the defense that Heroic could take advantage of if they had that information. It looks like it's going to be a cat split up to B, but there are 3 people on this side of the map.
Yeah, there are, and Yell's already delivered first blood here with his AWP. Madi is able to take out Showtime, and they do pour into the site, but Yell's still around, unfortunately not able to deliver. And the kills keep going by the way of Heroic, and looks like PKL and Nekis are already looking to dodge out of town and just carry these M4s over into the next round. So Heroic will get another one on the board and immediately reset Luminosity. You can see their cash flow is not really that sharp. These 2 M4s are basically all they're going to have next round. That's
around Dust where the CTs have a lot of things going for them. They've got 3 at B, 1 like halfway rotated out, but still in time to stop a split. They've got the information somehow. They know or have a good feeling it's going to be a B split. And their first player left his prey, second player dies without a trade. They actually didn't get any kills, I think, stopping the
Y'all got the opening
so.
pick with the op, but then after that, it was just like a waterfall of Heroic, basically.
Yeah, so
really clean entries.
So I think for Heroic, they're going to be like, why were there so many people here? But at the same time, they're going to be happy to know they got that round. They know that Luminosity are not going to have a lot of money in this round, and they're pretty close to just sealing this game up.
Yeah, they really are. Just 3 away. Luminosity, again, economy is in a really, really rough spot here. Doubt you see too much around this, but certainly taking some extra time to think about it. They do have not only Steel having come over, but also Zach, the coach, is also in a Luminosity jersey. So
yeah, that's a strange sight. I'm happy about it because I was wondering where Zach was going to go, but he has a lot of confidence in himself.
Is he actually here? I didn't see him standing behind the team unless he's like somewhere off camera, but maybe he didn't make this trip. I'm not sure.
Fogo de Chao. It's never a bad time to go get some Brazilian steakhouse.
Indeed. They do see Luminosity do decide to get 1 M4 and a couple of CZs, so they go ahead and put all their eggs in this basket, basically. We do see them going for a bit of a boost here on the cat box. They're trying to take an unorthodox off position that they haven't used yet that could indeed foil Heroic. So Heroic again, just kind of slow it down. Playing a default, getting over here towards the mid boxes, but not really taking too much forward positioning anywhere. And we'll go ahead and smoke the connector side, or excuse me, the A side of connector, which they can use to kind of start getting towards ladder room without A having vision.
Great thing is obviously about the smoke is, it looks like you're going to have connector pressure put on you, but it also helps you go up cat if that's what you want, if you feel like CTs are not playing in there. And it can serve as some kind as sort of a cheap fake.
Freiburg actually gets all the way into ladder room and catches Steel way off guard. Wasn't expecting Freiburg just to kind of creep through. So an opening already found here for Heroic, and they still maintain their positioning all across the map as well. So still all options really open to Heroic. Yell does eventually trade Freiburg out, as the rest of the team is gathering up over towards the A-bomb site right now. And they still have to kind of keep tabs on middle, so they can't really have a stout A defense right now. So Heroic might be able to find a gap, but Nekis still can turn and help PKL. And PKL has a nice little off angle here. They will start crossing in. He could certainly catch someone off guard, and indeed he does find that first kill. He does get his help as well from his connector player, and they actually come together to completely shut down Heroic. So despite the opening pick from Freiburg, Luminosity, they come through.
It's another round where they have a really good read. Like even on the B play where they lost, they had a good read on the site. In that round, the rotation came out a B early. They had one on cat, and I think that's because they maintained some mid-presence. They felt confident about that, knowing that no one's put pressure on them. They have to pick a site. And it did feel like if Heroic went A, a lot of those trades were very CT favored. So worrying round for Heroic, actually.
Yeah, it really is. It's also a worrying round for Luminosity in this round, though, because if they lose, it's another hard reset, and Heroic's route to map point is
a little bit shorter,
yeah. It just seems like they would be able to get there with little trouble. As Steel is trying to see if he can't do something a little bit aggressive over here towards middle. PK also did find a kill over towards A ramp already as well. And someone has a nice little flash to pop Steel in, which I think he does have a player in window who could do that. Might be able to find something else, but for now I think they're just content holding angles since they have the advantage already.
There's always this game you play of like, all right, should we push now, or if they flash and then have to turn, am I going to get shot? Seems like Steel's found an angle he likes.
Does indeed find one. Nico trades it back, but it's still Luminosity kind of trading 1-for-1 while they're already ahead. Croman and Esatanic combine for a couple kills and get this back to equal footing. Bomb's still down actually towards back of middle. A's actually been taken, and a player's already pushed into CT spawn. And it is going to be Croman who's holding the angle here. Showtime coming around. I think might have an idea that he could be here thanks to his teammates' call, and indeed he does line up the headshot as the bomb was still slowly making its way over towards A, but because a lot of time has ticked off the clock, I think they have to respect the fact it could be B, and that could give Nico a gap to get into the site.
Yeah, but they are in this 2v1 being very fluid right now. Showtime has made his way around CT, into window, out window. The bomb goes down on default. Nico's got a Molotov at the very least, and two players are going to be creeping up from the side, but the double peek is good, and there's no chance for him to even make a play.
Yeah, it's basically Luminosity's decided to stick together inside connector, which is the quickest rotation in either site, and they just make sure they play a 2-on-1, and they're able to convert the round. And so the big lead that Heroic was brandishing is all of a sudden evaporating. Just a couple of rounds away with Luminosity from tying this thing up, and money's actually starting to get tight on the Heroic side as well. Yeah,
I'm starting to have more faith in Luminosity on the CT side than I am with Heroic on their T side. Even though they're coming close, it's and on that round, you know, just to give Heroic a little bit more credit too, it really comes down to that one frag in CT spawn where Showtime has to get his kill when somebody's waiting for him. If he doesn't, then you know it's a 2v1 in Heroic's favor, and the whole narrative has changed.
Madi, nice entry here on the Showtime, though, on top of the white van. So despite the fact they're just on CZs in the single AK, Madi's getting the most out of that single AK. It's been the hero several times for Heroic throughout this game, it feels like. And he's pushing into market, thirsty for more frags, just trying to hold off this retake that could be coming. He's going to catch Yell up close, almost gets the spray transfer to PKL, at least does a little bit of damage, and he's done more than enough to help Heroic along in this round, as it's all on PKL. 1v4, does have a kit, does have a flash up to that smoke. But again, economic situation for both teams is really fragile.
Yeah.
He's boxed in. He can't even really run away and save this M4. Freiburg has got him cut off.
Oh, boy. Yeah, pressure from all sides, and you really, I mean, he wants to save the gun, but he knows he doesn't have a way out and can't even get a kill for it. Big round for Madi. He's kind of like the RPK of Heroic, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely one of those like hybrid peripheral players who, well, I guess you would classically consider a lurker, but he's definitely way more aggressive than most. And he was like one of the first people I ever saw on Overpass who wouldn't play outside B. Like he would always like either just push short or play stairs and be like, why would I stand outside B forever when no one really ever pushes B on CT side? Like, so he was one of those guys that had that kind of philosophy shift on certain areas of the map. So definitely a neat player, storied player from Counter-Strike's history. So Luminosity here behind the wall if they can in hopes of stopping Heroic from getting map point, but it seems like it's almost inevitable at this point.
And the bomb gets planted. Nico's covering it, and there's an off here. Two are coming out of CT, and it's now a 1v1 between Showtime and Freiburg. Freiburg has showed face. Showtime has a smoke to bait his attention, but he hasn't spotted the cross, so he's not going to go and try to clear the defuse. This works against Showtime, but he's creeping up on the angle. He's got a CZ. One of the very best guns in the game, but up against one of the very best players. There's no chance at that distance. And Heroic now have match point.
Indeed, they do. And again, there's just still not much from Luminosity to try to put up a resistance or strengthen the bottom of the barrel to get what they can. 4 ZZs and a UMP. Again, CZ is often very deadly. But Heroic has really maintained control of this game almost all the way through. Even with Luminosity closing the gap a bit, Heroic has always kind of held them off from tying up the game or really getting a position to actually take the lead. So Heroic may be finally piecing together that last round they need to just go ahead and do away with this game and move on to play in the winners finals. Try to get that automatic berth into the playoffs today, here and now. Froman comes up A ramp, finds 1 kill. Yell does trade. So into a 4-on-4.
Yeah. Luminosity spending all their money. They recover an AK in the 4v4, which is quite nice. There's 1 smoke on the board, some attention on Cats. The crossfire going on. NECA is actually assisting at first. A lot of ADR being handed out, but now it comes down to Yell.
Yeah, it's all on him. 1 versus 2, excuse me, to try to see if he can't keep his team in the race for this game. So 1 player is already crossing the site to get that bomb planted. It is going to be Nico. Freiberg holding out here on Catwalk. Yell just creeps his way in. There is a player at Van, though. He does spot out Freiberg, but will he rack fast enough to the Van player? Nico actually doesn't peek. He decides to close his position instead, but now comes out for the frag. And so there you have it. Heroic able to get themselves an opening victory here off the back of what was a decent run at EPL considering their roster situation. Open up well here in Austin.
Yeah, it's a nice way to start the tournament. It's kind of unfortunate for Luminosity, who were able to steal back momentum in the second half. That seemed like it was going to be a saving grace for them, and then had a couple of rounds where they probably shouldn't have lost. They had the appropriate setup, they just couldn't get the frags or stop the entries, right? Madi running into me and getting 2 kills, that just ends the round. A round where they have all the rotates today, they still can't win. So, you know, it's maybe a round where strategically they were on point. They had the setups, they just couldn't deliver mechanically.
Yeah, and indeed, that's enough from us, though. We're going to hand it back over to the dapper gentleman over on the desk. Bach, take it away.
We're dapper today, apparently. We look good. It's good to know.
We tried.
I thought that was someone on E United.
Right? For a second, I was like, dapper? What are we talking about? That was, I'll give you
driest.
3 out of 10. I appreciate the execution, though. I mean, looking at that game, it did kind of look like it could go the way of Luminosity for a little bit, and then Heroic just started grabbing rounds, and then obviously, you know, they take the series, which means you're off to a rough start.
I actually thought that Heroic looked better the whole game. I think without that opening pistol round, I think Luminosity would have gotten like 16-3'd. I think that's what sort of allowed them to stay in the game. They looked sloppy. I think they were making tiny mistakes here and there. Some of their players were missing shots here and there. You know, not like missing free kills, but the kind of kills that allow you to win close rounds. I just thought Heroic looked much better, even with this kind of a ragtag of a roster with a stand-in on last minute without practice. They played well as a team. They had Esatag opping. That was surprising to me. Madi had one of his better games in a long time. It's a good game by Heroic. I mean, they were just. I thought they were by far the better team.
So this is actually what happened, I think, at EPL as well. They had Esatag on the op roll there, and it seemed to work out. Even though in the end, I still don't like look at him as like a really strong opper. I just don't feel like the team has that in general. But you were right. You pointed it out. Madi actually top fragged on the game. Croman, who he came into the series profiling, sat towards the bottom. Still a decent performance. It wasn't bad, but the numbers were definitely not as good as we expected them to be. So it is good to see Heroic win, despite the fact that this guy who's been so strong for them kind of failed to deliver.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe they're having Esatag op because Nico is just a better rifler, so they figure, well, they're about maybe the same level as an op presence, but Nico's a better rifler, so let's just have Esatag do it. But I feel like Nico is the better opper. But
I agree.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why they're doing that. But they did look like the better team. I think Luminosity made some strange strategical calls, and I was praising Steele before the game. I don't know if he is calling, but I'm assuming he is. They did some strange stuff. There were 2 rounds where they just straight up rushed. They had utility. There's no reason to do it, but they just bull rushed both bomb sites at B, one time at B, and it actually worked. It was a close round, but then one time at A, and they just got slaughtered. So I'm not really sure why they would do that with utility, but I can't really read minds.
It also seemed to me like they seemed a little over-eager to win rounds their way on the CT side. They were a little too aggressive, even when it clearly wasn't working. And I thought they frankly should have just saved a couple more times on CT side instead of going for the broken buys.
Well, that's what they're known for. They're known for that aggressive style. I mean, Brazilians have always been really good with CZs, and we saw how many times did they force buy with CZs and get the rounds close, you know? So I'm not surprised to see them force buy so much. That is their style. They are good at it, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
You know, James, my grandma always used to say, almost doesn't count.
Horseshoes and hand grenades, brother.
We do have Esatag standing by, ready for an interview. First off, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I just want to say I'm the only one that believed in you.
Are you really?
He's lying. That is not true. We all said Luminosity. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fine.
So I had a question. You're opping nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know, in my perspective, I think Nico would probably be the better opper. I won't lie to you. Why is it that you're opping over him?
Why would you think Nico's the better opper?
Because I've seen his op in FPL.
Oh, really? In FPL? To be honest, Nico never really ops ever. He just trolls when he ops too.
Oh.
So you got beaten by a troll op.
I got beaten by a troll.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, he doesn't op at all.
Okay. Well, I learned something today.
Yeah.
Now, you guys come into that game against Luminosity, who's been struggling. You end up on Mirage. Was that a map you guys definitely wanted to play them on?
We were expecting either Overpass or Mirage, and I feel like Mirage is something we excelled on at Dallas, so I was really happy with the pick. Yeah, I could have went on either Overpass or Mirage. It was really up to them.
How was your preparation coming into this tournament? I mean, it wasn't a long time after EPL. You don't have Rubino. How prepared do you actually feel across the map pool?
Like, we feel really prepared in the sense that we all like playing with each other, and we got good team spirit right now. And we're just gonna keep that going and then just play our game. We're not really prepared in the sense of our map pool being huge or having many tactics, but we'll just work it out mid-round and see how far we can go.
How is Croman fitting in as a stand-in? Like, we've seen him now play with you guys. He played with you at ESL Pro League, and he's playing here as well. He seems to be doing okay with some hit-or-miss results in close games.
We like Croman. Croman's a fun guy. He's got really good aim, but a lot of the experience that he's lacking, to be honest. But we're making it work, so we'll just see how far we can go with Croman before Ruben is back.
All right, I'm going to pry a little deep here. You don't have to answer this.
Okay.
I'm going to go into the map pool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're using a stand-in, have y'all practiced Dust 2?
Yeah, we practiced a lot of this too. We got something called the Super Strat, and it's worked 7 out of 7 times, so bring it on.
Okay.
7 out of 7.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's really good.
Hopefully we're going to see some Dust 2 from y'all then later, because I want to see what the strat is, because I want to steal it from my team.
At Dallas, we lost 16-1, I believe, against Mouse, so it's not like it's...
oh, so it's not so stupid.
But we started CT side, so we never got to do the Super Strat. That's a mistake. From now on, we're always going to start T, so we can own him on that side.
I think a second tactical error was explaining that it's a terrorist side tactic, because now teams can just try to do that again. Force you to start on CT side, never let you to run it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I just sabotaged your whole Dust 2.
That's fine.
Just have to ban it now. I guess that's the only thing.
Ban every round.
They're just gonna have to ban
That's
Dust
why
2.
map gone, just like that. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah,
No
thank you.
problems.
Now we have another game coming up in just a bit. It's going to be a winners match, so we'll get to see who's going to be moving on in the playoffs. It'll be E United versus the team we just watched, Heroic, and it's going to be right here on the stage. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned.